Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new match review here on the channel. My name is James and today we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about Reading's 2-1 victory at home over Huddersfield Town. That's right, the Royals took on the Terriers at the Select Car Leasing Stadium in a rematch of what was the Championship playoff final just 7 years ago. And well, luckily for Reading, this time the result was more in our favour. Now apologies, there was no match preview for this fixture. I've been a little bit busy outside of the YouTube life over the last week. Stuff with my son, stuff with work and stuff like that. So unfortunately, didn't have the time to sit down and talk to you guys, but we're able to sit down and give you guys the match review now. Coming into this fixture, I thought it was going to be an interesting one for Reading. Huddersfield on the back of 2 defeats at home, losing against Northampton and losing against Blackpool. And the same for Reading. We obviously had 2 defeats in a row too, losing against Leyton Orient and losing against Bolton away. Now Huddersfield had lost 3 of their last 4 coming into this one, with the only win that win against Bolton by 4-0 at the Reebok Stadium. Now coming into this fixture, the starting 11 for Reading saw just one change from the loss against Bolton, as David Button remained the number 1. Kelvin Abrafa replaced Jarrell Dorset at left back, whilst the back 4 remained the same, with Tyler Bindon, Amadou Mbenge and Michael Craig making up the rest of it. Lewis Wing was the centre man in the midfield, while you saw Ben Elliott and Harvey Knibbs play alongside him. Kelvin Ehibachiman was out wide and he was partnered by Chem Campbell, with Sam Smith being the sole striker. Now, in terms of some individual performances from this starting 11, I've got to say a big shout out to Kelvin Abrafa. I thought he did really well at left back today, and it was nice to see someone that's a natural wing back playing in that spot. Normally, Michael Craig and Jarrell Dorset are the 2 players that are playing in those right back, left back positions, and obviously both of them aren't natural wing backs. So it's good to see Kelvin Abrafa play. He's someone obviously that's, very athletic when it comes to the tracking back side of things. I think Jarrell Dorset is a little bit slow when it comes to getting beaten by his man. He never is able to track back, whereas you see Kelvin Abrafa's got a little touch of pace about him, so it's good to see him play. Harvey Knibbs as well, I was really happy to see him back in the starting 11. Obviously I didn't go to Bolton away, so I didn't get to see him play a full 90 since his last appearance at the SCL was off the bench, but it's good to see him back. You can see the difference in the press when Harvey Knibbs plays. He puts so much effort into everything he does, and look, I just think Harvey Knibbs is an all-round fantastic football player. And as well, I want to touch on Chem Campbell. Listen, I think for me, Chem Campbell, I've got to be a little bit of a criticiser of him. I don't think he started off too well in Reading colours. I think, look, he's only 4 games into his season really at Reading, and he's not really up to scratch in my opinion. I think he's a little bit a touch off the pace. I think when it comes to chasing things down, he's just a little tad slow. I think with the ball as well, he makes the wrong decisions some of the time. So for me, I think, look, I'm going to give Chem Campbell a couple more weeks before I make a full judgment on him, but I don't think he's had the greatest of starts off to his Reading career. Now, in terms of the fixture itself, Huddersfield had to have a standing goalkeeper for this game. Lee Nichols getting injured before the game, so Jacob Chapman was the man who was in goal. 23 years old and bald already. I felt a little bit bad for him there. Now, in terms of the actual fixture itself, I thought Huddersfield were the better of the 2 sides to start off with the game. I thought Reading's game plan in the first half was really poor. It seemed like we were skipping our midfield out completely. Now, when you've got a midfield of Harvey Knibbs, Lewis Wing and Ben Elliott, 3 players that are all very comfortable on the ball, I was surprised that that was the game plan. Whether it was David Button, whether it was Lewis Wing, we were just looking for a switch ball every single time, looking to knock it upfield to either Sam Smith or Ehibachiman, and I didn't really think it worked out in Reading's favour. Obviously, that was shown when Huddersfield eventually went 1-0 up, but I thought they controlled the pace of the first half really well, Huddersfield, and much as they didn't create lots of opportunities, I thought they were able to really control the pace of the fixture. Now, Huddersfield did go 1-0 up in the 21st minute, but just before that, the Reading fans were holding up red cards in honour, should we say, of the owner, Dai Young. They were held up, obviously. The whole stadium was up, standing up if you hate Dai Young. Continues to be a trend last season, and this year it looks like it's going to be continuing, as though it does seem like there is no hope at the moment, or at least no end of the tunnel when it comes to a new owner, or at least a light at the end of the tunnel. But look, after the protests happened, Reading committed a foul on the edge of their own box, and Huddersfield had a free kick. It was a good save by David Button. The ball fell straight to Matthew Pearson, and he was able to tap in from close range and was able to awaken the Huddersfield fans, who for me were pretty quiet before that. Look, it was a good set piece, should we say. It was a good one. David Button was able to get fingertip save to it, but obviously then the ball fell straight to the Huddersfield man, and obviously from close range tapped it in to score in the 21st minute, and that saw Huddersfield take a deserved lead, in my opinion. I think in the first half, really, the majority of the time they had the ball. And look, they didn't create the chances. They didn't create, or they not say they didn't create the chances. I'll just say they didn't trouble David Button too much, should I say. But look, they deserved to go arguably into the break 1-0 up. But that didn't happen, as Reading were able to equalise in the 30th minute when Harvey Knibbs was able to score. Some good pressing up front from him. We'll see him able to tackle a Huddersfield man inside the box after Reading had the ball in there. Knibbs, though, was persistent as ever and was able to get the ball and rocket it into the back of the net. His shot was in the roof of the net. Fantastic strike by Harvey Knibbs. Went over and shushed the Huddersfield fans as well before celebrating. So look, happy for Knibbs. He was able to get his first goal of the season and kick off his campaign. It was a good finish though by Knibbs, and look, arguably it was a little bit unjust on Huddersfield. After that, Huddersfield again had more of the ball and stuff like that, but didn't really create any chances. Now in the start of the second half, Huddersfield did have the ball in the back of the net. It was from a free kick that was eventually adjudged to have been offside. They crossed the ball in and they were absolutely free to do whatever they wanted, and the header found the back of the net. For me, I thought the defending should have been better from Reading, and at the same time as well, I thought David Button should have come off his line and tried to collect that ball, but he didn't, and luckily for us, the linesman's flag went up. Well, just a couple of minutes later though, Reading found themselves in a good position. Kelvin Ehebatchaman and Lewis Wing are the ones who should be thanked by Ben Elliott for this goal. Now it was a quick corner routine as Kelvin Ehebatchaman passed it quickly to Lewis Wing. Wing then passed it back to Ehebatchaman. Ehebatchaman, I think, once again back to Wing. Wing then found Ben Elliott, and Ben Elliott struck the ball into the back of the net to score his first ever league goal at the Select Carlesen Stadium. I was really happy for Ben Elliott, as I think he's had a really strong start to the campaign this year, and I think he's had a really good start to the season, and look, I'm happy for Ben Elliott. Listen, again, I thought it was maybe a little bit unjust on Huddersfield. I thought Reading had a couple of opportunities though. Before that, Reading started to get a little bit more into the game in the second half, or at least the first half of the second half, and created some opportunities. But it was good for Reading to go 2-1 up. Obviously, I'm not going to complain, being a Reading fan. I was absolutely buzzing that Ben Elliott was able to put the ball in the back of the net, and it was nice to feel the buzz around the stadium as well. It's been a really hard week, or last couple of weeks really, at Reading, obviously with the takeover from Rob Cohig not going through, and look, there's like no real light at the end of the tunnel in terms of a takeover. So it was really nice to feel that positive energy with the result on the pitch and get Reading their first 3 points since that news hit. Now Huddersfield once again continue to have more of the ball and continue to have more of the momentum in this fixture, but for me again struggled to make David Button work. There was a couple of times with a few corners and stuff like that where it seemed a little bit risky, but I felt like Reading were quite comfortable in their defending. In particular, I thought Amadou Mbenge and I thought Tyler Bindon once again were standouts for me. The two as the centre-back pairing at home are absolutely outstanding. I feel like when we're away from home we can get exposed quite a bit and we're quite stretched, but when it comes to at home, it feels like the boys are always perfect when it comes to defending. Now, there was a little bit of a risky moment when Harley Dean came on with 10 minutes to go. I thought he did a really good job, and Mbenge slotted in at left back as a Brafer came off the pitch, but I thought Harley Dean did quite well with his limited minutes on the pitch. Now, I've got to say one thing as well before we leave. BBC Berkshire just a couple of weeks ago touched on how Reading would do if they went behind in a game. This was after the Charlton match, and despite beating Charlton by 2-0 in a very positive result, they were still complaining about, well, what would Reading do if they go behind in a game? We've seen at Wrexham they just crumbled, and obviously against Bolton they were proven to be right as we crumbled, being 4-1 down going into the break. But I've got to say, they've got to be positive today. They were 1-0 down against Huddersfield, a team that have recently been relegated from the Championship and are promotion, not favourites, but promotion candidates, and they've gone ahead and beat them by 2-1. So for Reading and this young team, a massive well done to you. Now, in terms of the league table, Reading are now currently sat in 15th place. This is after all the other results have been played. Huddersfield are in 9th, Reading just 2 points away from Huddersfield and 3 points away from the elusive playoffs. I'm not going to start thinking about that just yet. We'll wait till November to touch on that. That's going to be it for all this one today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been James, and we'll hope to see you all again soon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.